Hey everybody, and welcome to another business analysis video. In today's video, I'll be talking to you about user stories. Now, when you hear about user stories, you probably think of Agile. However, other organizations who use other methodologies such as waterfall have begun to adopt user stories for requirements documentation. And I think the reason for this is that waterfall methodology generally draws requirements from the system's perspective, while Agile methodology generally draws requirements from the user's perspectives. So in today's video, I'll be introducing you to the wonderful world of user stories. So what is a user story? A user story is a small unit of work told from the perspective of the person who requires a new functionality. So user stories are a very crucial part of Agile because it shifts the focus from writing requirements to actually talking and discussing about them. It enables conversation and collaboration between the delivery team and the customers or the clients or the end users. And this is because Agile software development is about putting the customers first. So how exactly do you write user stories? Before you write user stories, there are certain things that you have to consider, such as who is the customer, what do they need, what will satisfy them, and why do they need what they need. So the format for writing user stories is in 3 parts. This includes who, what, and why. And it's written in the format: as a user, I want something so that I can achieve something. So the who provides the perspective, the what provides the requirement that is describing the need of the user, and the why provides the context as to why the user needs what they need. So here's an example of a user story, and I'm taking this from my membership opportunity, which I've been talking about for a while now. So here's the example. As a logged in member, I would like the ability to explore business analysis resources within my dashboard so that I can begin a business analysis course based on my needs. So that's how to write a user story from the member's perspective, that is the user of this membership space. Now, from a coach or instructor perspective, that would be me. An example would be, as a business analysis coach, I want the ability to edit already uploaded video lectures and downloadable materials so that I can keep courses accurate and up to date. So regardless of what user perspectives, you're always speaking in first person. So now let's talk about the acceptance criteria. User stories on their own do not provide enough detail for the dev team to take and create a solution from them. So more details are really needed, and this is where the acceptance criteria comes in. So what is acceptance criteria? So acceptance criteria is a set of conditions that must be met by a product in order to be accepted by the user, the client, or the customer. That is what the requirement of the user story must meet or achieve in order to be successful. So there are many benefits of writing acceptance criteria with your user story, but my top 4 are: number 1, they provide all the details needed so that the team have a common understanding and are on the same page. 2, it sets the scope of the user story from where it starts to where it ends, both for the front end and the back end solution. 3, it validates that a user story is complete. And 4, it helps show what you need to test by following the acceptance criteria to validate and compare the solution in order to ensure that it meets the needs described. So going back to the first user story from the user's perspective, as a logged-in member, I want the ability to explore resources from my dashboard so that I can start a course or business analysis journey based on my needs. So once you have your user story, as a business analyst, you really want to get your questions ready. Understand what questions you need to ask the stakeholders so that you can flesh out the user stories into acceptance criteria. So with this user story, my first question would be, what are the resources available within this dashboard? Secondly, where can these resources be accessed from when the member logs in, for example? And you also want to think about what other features are needed within this space. So from here, we now have some questions that we can go to have one-to-one with our stakeholders in order to break down those requirements. So there are various methods of writing acceptance criteria, and a lot of times this mainly depends on the organization that you work with. One format is the checklist format, and the second format is the given, when, then format, also known as BDD, which is behavior driven development. So let's write our acceptance criteria of this user story in the checklist format. So our checklist would be that the resources will include tutorials, courses in video format, and downloadable files and templates. Number 2, they will be visible and accessible within the dashboard. And number 3, it can only be accessible to logged in paid members. So that's one example of how to write your acceptance criteria in the checklist format. The second format is the BDD format, aka given, when, then. So the given here determines the precondition, the when determines the action, and the then determines the result. So the example of the acceptance criteria for our user story in BDD format would be, given I am a logged in member, when I click the dashboard, then I expect to see business analysis resources and video tutorials. So that's the end of today's content. There are a lot to learn about user stories and acceptance, including user story splitting, user story mapping, and a lot more advanced coverage about user story writing. Now, I covered this in my Agile crash course, which is available through my membership space. This space will include various resources such as video lectures, tutorials, downloadable resources, and real-world projects and examples that will not only help you get a great understanding of user stories and business analysis in general, but also provide the information that you need in order to practically apply the knowledge as well, especially when you finally become a business analyst. So if you would like to know more, please click the link in the description section where you can join my waiting list. And at the same time, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video so you can help people that are interested in business analysis as a career. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Peace.